growing up, my family always spoke two languages, Spanish and English. The majority of my mom's side of the family was born in Dominican Republic, so obviously this was natural to them, and they all came to New York and obviously had to learn English for school reasons and work reasons and financial reasons, but all of our great aunts and grandmas and grandpas still only speak Spanish, which I really love and is something that's very special and unique about my family. Um, so, specifically at family parties or anytime there was any get together of all of my aunts and uncles, the adults always code switched. And when I was younger, I had no idea what that was. I just thought that it was something that only my family did because they had two languages and they just felt like that's how they wanted to speak. I had no idea that this applied to other Hispanic families, and even more than that, basically any person that speaks more than one language and chooses to code switch, that's just something that is a thing, and it's actually studied. And I just think that it's so cool that um, that's something that is like shown in science to be a language in its own almost. Like, it's very specific, it has rules, and like you need to be fluent in both languages to do it, or to be fluent in three or four or five or whatever it is. um, but when I was growing up, I felt like I had two identities. I had my Dominican culture, but then I also had my community culture, which was so different from my Hispanic one. So every time I was with my Hispanic side of the family, I tried very hard to fit in and to be someone that could code switch. So I would just here and there add little Spanish words into my language, trying to fit in. But I could never, one, do it as quickly as they did, or two, do it fluently and in a way that sounded natural. Um, but now I know from taking linguistics that code switching is something that you can only do if you're fluent in both languages. And I've never been fluent in Spanish, even though I can speak it and say things and whatever. I understand the code switching, but I don't think I'll ever be at a capacity enough to um, do it and to have the capacity to put myself in a conversation where I would be code switching. Although if someone else code switched to me, I'd understand it. So it's also kind of disappointing because now it makes me feel like I want to be fluent so I can actually code switch, because I think it's the coolest thing ever. It is so interesting watching it. So yeah, so I just think that it's so funny that now, after all these years, I finally figured out why I couldn't code switch, and um, why it is that my family chooses to do that and speak that way when they're with each other. And it makes total sense now, and I think it's so interesting.